Welcome, Aries, to your monthly horoscope for January for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol on the desktop version of YouTube. This month begins with a glittering alliance between Jupiter, the planet of growth, and Mercury, the planet of commerce, in the most responsible part of your scope, your 10th solar house. This is very much to do with your goals and ambitions. And over the last couple of years, the planet that governs the sign of Capricorn, Saturn, has been making its way through this sign. It wouldn't be a surprise, therefore, if you have been trying to push forwards and build up something of substance during that time, whether it's through your studies, whether it's through local commitments in terms of community roles, or perhaps it's your own small business, or it's a bigger commercial enterprise where you play a leading role. The 10th house, which for you Capricorn is about, is very much to do with your status and also your profile. But Saturn, of course, can be very restrictive. And I do feel as this year begins, the fact that Jupiter has now moved into the sign of Capricorn is going to bring some sweet music your way throughout 2020. But also as this year begins, Uranus, the planet of surprises, which is in your sector of everyday resources, forges a marvellous link with both Mercury and Jupiter. So you have a great ability to think outside the box, but frame it in a way that people in general can actually be responsive to. So that's a very dynamic combination for you to surf. But also as this year begins, Jupiter is going to be pretty close to the South Node and also the Sun. And when the Sun and Jupiter get together, we have a sense of optimism. So even though Capricorn can be a sign of caution and being steadfast and taking small but significant steps forwards, I feel that you could come into this year feeling that things can improve for you. But it's true that in week 2 of this month, we do have a combination, a direct combination between Saturn, but also Pluto, which has been in Capricorn since 2008. Now, they were pretty close to each other for quite a lot of the last 6 months. So the energy of Saturn being about structure, but also resistance, and Pluto being about change, but also power and transformation, has probably created some tensions, some growing pains, or some readjustments which haven't necessarily been easy to bear. So when we think about how you're interacting with others, that comes through the guise of the moon, it comes through Venus in terms of relating, and it comes through Mars in terms of your action. And of course, Mars is your ruler. So where are these 3 positions as you start this new year? Well, wonderfully, the moon is in the part of your horoscope to do with your senses, to do with your intuition. It's in the sign of Pisces, and it's very close to Neptune, which is very much about dreams and imaginations. So as you're formulating your goals and your objectives for this new year, and this month in particular, I think it's going to be especially important that you do listen to your subconscious, to the side of your nature that calls out to you about what to do in certain situations. In other words, our sixth sense, our inner voice. If you listen to this, it's going to be such an asset for you this year. But Venus, in terms of your love life and relating, and potentially money, is in the democratic sign of Aquarius, suggesting that this month can be pretty sociable for you, considering all this worldly interaction, but also the midpoint between the Sun in Capricorn and the Moon in Pisces puts it right beside Venus in Aquarius. And if you think that the Moon is about receptiveness and emotion and the Sun about drive, this combination right beside Venus in Aquarius gives you a real instinct to connect with groups of people or people that share your values, but it will be your instincts which is so important to progress. Mars, on the other hand, your governing planet, is in the sign of Scorpio, which it also rules. And of course, this is a very, very intense transit. It's going to be moving early this year into the sign of Sagittarius, which is very much about expansion, and it's very much about travel. So it really wouldn't be a surprise if from the 3rd, when it does ingress into Sagittarius, if you do find yourself actively thinking about going on some kind of winter or sunshine break, depending on where you are in the world, or your professional role could be linked to moving around or some kind of flexing or changing in your circumstances, but it could be you who is the one that's driving this process, which is so terribly exciting. Also, in terms of your identity, there is a very important combination between Black Moon Lilith and also Chiron in your sign on the first day of this month. So if there is something that you're really desiring for yourself, with the visualizing energies that Venus gives you around hopes and expectations, this combination can really give you a warming balm to try to work towards your goals and hopes, but especially ones that in some way shift your circumstances, but not just in a material context. And frankly, Capricorn is quite a material sign, but there is a nice balance there for you to work off. Now, on the 7th of this month, Jupiter does go alongside the South Node and into opposition directly with the North Node in the very healing and very nurturing part of your scope, the 4th solar house. I think it's possible that something you have been working for really quite hard for some time can start to come to pass. Now, there is an annular lunar eclipse also in Cancer on the 10th, and with a clustering of energy in Capricorn, it could be said that even if you do want to make a big breakthrough around your goals and ambitions, you do need to make sure that your work-life balance is not getting out of kilter. And in fact, with Venus in Aquarius at this stage and that midpoint, it's just saying to you, stay in contact with your friends, do some sociable things, even if it is early in the year. It will be good to balance the drive that all these planets, this stellium energy in Capricorn is going to give you. Now, by the 11th, Uranus, the planet of surprises and the planet of independence in your sector of resources, ends a retrograde, which I think is going to be something that you really appreciate. But also, on the 14th, we have Venus making its way into the sign of Pisces too. But just before then, on the 12th and the 13th, the Sun is going to be going into an exact alliance with Mercury, but also with Pluto and Saturn. And this is the big moment that so many people have been talking about. We could see some kind of readjustment going on in the world at large, because Jupiter essentially is in full in the sign of Capricorn. So it's in a location where, in terms of expansion around the markets, which Capricorn could be said to represent, we may see a settling down. However, it's equally possible that we can just get a clarity, and something that has naturally been shifting in our situations can just start to make more sense from this point onwards. On the 17th, however, Mercury replaces Venus in the sign of Aquarius. On the 21st, the Sun moves into Aquarius. And then we have on the 24th a fabulous Aquarius new moon. All this sounds absolutely superb, but just be aware that towards the end of this month, that Mars, your ruler, does go into a square with Neptune. So there may be something that you desire as January comes to a close, which may seem to be absolutely awesome and really what you yearn for. But it's very, very important that you don't kid yourself about what your motives are or about the motives of anyone else you're involved with, because Neptune can distort, and in your 12th house, where there's so much sensitivity at the start of this year, And also Mars, in a very expansive part of your scope, can see something exaggerated just at a time when it's best to try to stay grounded, keep it friendly, keep connecting to other people. And it could be the case that when it comes to those goals and ambitions, taking on extra responsibilities, gaining greater acclaim and responsibility and acknowledgement, that it will come through the prism of the people you know and the people you get on well with, as much as just society and life as a whole. So cooperation and interaction and collaboration with others can be real assets to you this month. It really can be an awesome opportunity for you to thrive, Aries. If you'd like to know what 2020 would hold for you from a personal viewpoint beyond your zodiac sign, please click on the link beneath this video. You can get your 12-month forecast and get 30% off. If you order in 2019, you can get the rest of that year free as well. But for now, it's been a real pleasure being with you. Good luck for the new year and goodbye for now.